Well, hello there, folks, and welcome to another episode, another installment of Tokefreely, and I'm your host, Mr. Reese. Yay! Woo, yeah. So I'm happy y'all join me here today, and we got an exciting new marijuana to show you. But before we get started, I ask that you please subscribe, give me a thumbs up and a like, and share and tell your friends about it. Also, leave a comment in the comment section below, or you can contact me directly to my email at tokefreely at 1921gmail.com. Also, you can also visit us on the World Wide Web. So if you go to www.tokefreely, you will see our stuff, and pow, my stuff comes up, and you'll be able to look at our stuff and go directly to our website and check that out. And we still have an opening for any sponsors. Anybody that has a cannabis product or CBD product or any type of marijuana product that you're trying to get off and running, we have a special deal going on, 1 month free, you know, and we also have a new sponsor coming. He makes African walking canes. They call him the Cane King. So we have gonna have some of his product coming soon. And for those of you who listen to my show on podcast with New Way to Do It with Reese and Soul Time with Country and Miss Reese, we ask that you please, continue to listen to us. We're on Spotify, Anchor, uh, Apple Podcasts, and a few others. And we're still taking donations for that to $4.99. And we're gonna have merchandise coming soon for Toke Freely, some t-shirts and stuff coming soon for that. So stay tuned. So thank you for all that. I know that was a mouthful. So today, the name of our marijuana is called Purple Gelato. See, I had to change my pad because my grandfather's kids came over here and wrote up on my pad. But it's called Purple Gelato. I hope you folks can see that. Okay. But first, before I do that, I want to do my last one with the Ox OG. I forgot about Coffability. I forgot to write that down. So when I noticed that I hadn't done it, I put in Coffability and I put in the 3 for Coffability, which raised our score from 74 to 77, which made that a very good. So let me show everybody that I did change it. Okay, and that's the Coffability down there. I had forgot about the Coffability, so that put it where it should be because that weed was really good. It shouldn't have been just a good; it should have been a very good. So that's what it is. It's a very good. All right. So today, let me show you the marijuana. I don't see no purple in it, but it's called Purple Gelato. So here we go, folks. Oh wait, let me do it the right way. Okay, there you go. I got a light here, so I don't need that light over the head anymore. That shows the actual color. See, nice color, nice texture. I'm put up as close as I can so you can see it. Nice texture, green with some hints of more green. Let me. There is a few hints of I don't know, like a almost like a blonde color. Put that up there so you can see it. Maybe you can make it out. No, I can't. But it's like up some like a blonde color up in there, a few pieces, but mostly green. Let me see the smell. Very aromatic, fruity, hint of the THC smell. But there's something else in there. There's something that's almost like, I don't know. It's a very unique smell. It's almost mm, like an afterthought or something. But it's not that great in the aroma, but altogether it's a good aroma. But that one particular smell almost smells like plastic. That's what it almost smells like. Almost smell like plastic. Almost like a plastic smell, which kind of fears me. But I'm guessing that's just in the way the weed is. But overall smell, it's a pretty good smell. All right, hold on, folks, while I put that back in my can. Because like I said, this stuff is getting pricey. You don't want to lose any. So let's fire up the joint and see where it goes from here. Now, don't forget, this is called Purple Gelato. You know, Yeah, so I am experimenting with different music now. So let's smoke on this and see what we get. It's got a good taste, but that weird smell that I smelled, I tasted too. So I'm wondering, is that some kind of chemical, or is it the THC? But I don't know. I've smoked a lot of weed with THC, and that was kind of weird. But like I say, each one of these marijuanas, you can't compare one to the other. You just can't do it. They're so different. You just can't compare about how you like it and what you like about it. But it's a good weed. It tastes pretty good. I don't feel nothing yet, but that was only my second pour. And since this is my first joint of the day, it might take a minute, because when for me, I went the whole day without smoking. It usually go to you right away, but then sometimes it take a little time. Like see right now, I can feel it starting to happen. So this is some good weed, strong. It's very mild, but that taste persists. That it's the same taste that's in the smell. I mean, the same smell is in the taste, and it's kind of it's not. It don't taste plastic, but it's that same smell. It's in the taste. It's not. It doesn't make for a bad taste. I have to, but you can taste it. Almost like a chemical taste, really. But like I said, so I saw a program today. They don't do exactly what I do, but actually they're more advanced. They have better production. But the guy talks about uh, uh, these 5 things you ask when you buy marijuana, and I felt it to be a little misleading because unless you go into a dispensary that puts out all this information about when was it grown, when was it picked, when did you harvest it, when did you pack it, when is the expiration date or whatever, something like that. You just don't really get that when you, especially here in Chicago. I haven't been to every dispensary, but I've known a lot of people that go to dispensaries, and I haven't seen not a one that gives you an expiration date, tells you when it was grown, tells you when it was picked, or tell you who the grower was. I haven't seen anything like that. And on the street, you ain't gonna get that on the street. Ain't nobody gonna tell you, well, man, this was grown in North Carolina in 2019 and it's set up and we let it sit for 6 months and then we pulled it out in 2020 and and we calling it barn weed or some shit. We don't get that here. So I felt that was a little misleading because most people, and let's face it, most people don't care where they get their weed from. The bottom line is they really they don't care where they get it from. So people that's like them, that's really technically into it, and they're growers themselves and stuff like that. I can understand why they would have that, but you're not putting that out to the people enough for people to understand it. Then again, you're not out there promoting that growers do that. It's almost the same as if your growers was a milk farmer. You see what I'm saying? See, so a milk farm. So we know milk lasts 7 days at the most. You know what I'm saying? So they like they say they have an expiration date. They have a when when it's good. It's up to this date. They they don't have when the cow was milked, but they have it when it was pasteurized and how long it would last. If growers expect for the sellers to do that, they should get together and demand it because it would help out. And you know what it would do? And not that I'm trying to put anybody out of business, it eliminate the guys on the street. It eliminate the guys on the street until you just uh, you scavenging and you find somebody selling some on the street. Because if you can because even cigarettes got an expiration date on them. Okay, so if y'all put an expiration date and it's good to this date or good to that date, I think that would be a good thing. But as far as right now, I think it's very misleading because not enough growers are doing that, and nobody's asking for it. So, like I said, I understand why a grower would demand those things and say those things, but the consumer, if we don't know enough about it, or the average person don't know enough about that to go ask the local dispensary, hey, give me the numbers on this weed. And then if you do go, most time they ain't gonna know. So I felt that was a little misleading. I mean, I thought the gas show was a great show. It's well done. But that's what I was talking about. Shows that has these big productions and shit. And his does. I don't put nothing down. Then he had this guy. that they can go way back. He was way back grower and stuff like that. They knew this guy with cushion. I guess he invented the Kush string of weed or whatever it was. The show is interesting, you know, but to me, it doesn't touch Tokefreely. It's got a bigger audience, and I researched him. Looked like he's 4 months older than us, so it looks like he's been around 4 months before us because I can't find anything older than 4 months ago. So yeah, right, 4 months ago. So he's 4 months older than us, not 2 months or 2 months older than us. He's either 2 months or 4 months older than us. And like I said, I guess he's a familiar face in the growing world. I don't know who he is. We are nobody. But like I said, nobody does his show. And then another thing that I found out, because I'm not going to mention his name, because I'm not trying to criticize, his show or anything like that, or try to bring him down. But I noticed that, you know, he didn't grade the weed. I think it becomes a personal thing with some of the growers that when they're talking to other people that grow and that kind of stuff, they don't really grade the weed. And to me, you got a show like that. That's a very important thing to do. And that's why I do it. I grade the weed so I can tell the people, hey, this is either good, bad, indifferent, bad, Yeah, I see they just interested in the strengths, the genetics, as he said, you know, and how you can cultivate the weed in the best uh, feasible way to get the best possible high or the best potency out the weed, which I find no problem with. But the show doesn't take the weed. It doesn't really identify you to the weed. And I watched quite a few of the shows, and a lot of his shows was growing, and he did have names. I think I watched like 7 shows, you know. And he had a couple of where he was in the field and he told about the weed and the strain and stuff like that, which is cool. This show is not about that. So if you looking for that kind of technical stuff, which I find no problem with, I suggest you go to his channel or find that channel. I do know his name, but I'm not going to mention. Did Lecraig or something like that? It was something like that. And it's a very good show. Like I said, I watched about 6, 7 episodes myself because I'm still searching to see if there are any shows like this show I do. And that way I know which way is a better way for me to go with the show, and I can go up with it, so I won't have to be directly competing against anybody. Or even if I do, I can try to put out something that's a little different than what you're seeing right now. Because, like I said, I went through a lot of shows, and I forgot to mention on the last show when I was saying I went through a lot of shows. I did see a lot of shows about people who smoke weed and they get together and they tell stories about stuff like that. This show is not about that. So if that's what you're looking for, no. I if you want to know the origin of the weed and stuff like that, those are the shows to look at. This show is we smoke the weed, grade the weed, we have a little fun with it, we talk a little shit, and we try to give you a little information along the way. So if you like my content, please subscribe, give me a thumbs up and like. If not, there are other shows that are better than my show. I'll be the first one to say it. They're better production and stuff. It's just me, and these guys, I guess they have a crew and they get different camera angles and they have nice backdrops and stuff like that. I can't afford that right now. But I think that my show is just as important in telling you about marijuana than his show. Like he had a segment where he actually showing people what they call a connoisseur joint. I've never heard of a connoisseur joint, and I'm older than he is. I'm sure I got him by at least 15 years. Okay, maybe more. I've never heard of a connoisseur joint. Now, maybe that's something that's new, happened in the last 20 years or something like that. It never came across me. So to me, and then the way he did it, it was wasteful, and then he clipped off the end, which was wasteful. It's like he was doing cigar. People who smoke marijuana, there are different ways people smoke it and stuff like that. I guess if we want to put it into the simplest thing, some people have a laid back approach to smoking weed, or some people have an aggressive approach to smoking weed. Some people have a I can't say it today, philosophical way of approaching weed, and some people have this sophisticated way where they approach the weed, and he sort of fit me and fit in them categories. If something that's been told for a whole bunch of years that's been dirty. You can't make it clean all of a sudden. Okay, you can't make it clean just by presenting the way this particular way of doing it to make it. Uh, it's hard for me to make it less talked about or less put down or whatever, because people gonna already put down. They consider marijuana a drug. They're gonna always put it in the drug category. It's gonna be a drug, you know. So you can't really you can't clean up cocaine, you know. Even though some of the richest people in the world and sophisticated people in the world, they snort it, but you can't clean it up to make it something good when eventually it's something that could harm you, you know. And marijuana, even marijuana could harm you, depending on the potency of the weed or something like that. It could harm you. I don't know if it could kill you. I've never heard a case of anybody dying from it, but I have heard. I don't know any personally, but I have heard people got really sick, almost died, that kind of stuff, you know. But you can't clean up something that people consider dirty for a long time and try to make it mainstream all of a sudden. It's been mainstream, but the fact that, see, we had to hide it for so many years, it just don't. You just can't pull it out there and give it the gold treatment and expect everybody to accept that because you gave it the gold treatment. I think that's I think it's kind of fake and kind of false because most of us, when we smoked the weed back in the day, we snuck and smoked it. You see what I'm saying? Or we was in our little place where we smoked it. Nobody would bother us or something like that. So it always had this stigma to it, that you kind of keep away from people because, hey, somebody could tell on you smoking. Before it got legal, literally somebody could just say, hey man, you know what? That guy over there smoking weed, and you can go get locked up for that shit. You know. So you can't bust it out the box right away. You got to kind of ease it out. You got to kind of ease it on people. Even though people know what it was, always knowing what it was, know what it do, but you have segments of people who look down on people who do that. So you can't dress up, like my dad said, you can't, put a tie on shit and call it your son. You see what I'm saying? It's not that drastic, but it's the same thing. You understand what I'm saying? You know, so I say, instead of trying to, create this ambiance behind smoking the weed, just be the person that you were when you was smoking the weed and when you was in private, and just bring it out today. So if he did that in private, I can understand that, but I don't get the recollection that people who do that like that does that in private. I just don't get that because I smoke weed the way I smoke weed. It's nothing private about it, but I just smoke and I tell you about it. I don't try to dress it up, to be more than what it is. That's the problem with a lot of things people do. They try to dress up everything, put a bow tie on it, and say it's nice, and it's not really nice. It still has that stigma, and that's all I'm saying. There's nothing wrong with smoking. There's nothing wrong with the show. Nothing wrong with how you present his show. It's a very nice show, very orthopedic. You know what I'm saying? Very clean. You know what I'm saying? So it's different from my show, but it's a nice show. Don't get me wrong, it's a nice show. You know, it's just different from how I think when I'm thinking of smoking weed. When I'm thinking of smoking weed, especially since I do the show by myself, I've been trying to get more guests, but everybody's busy all of a sudden. But when you're doing it by yourself, when you're sitting at home smoking weed, a ton of things goes through your mind. So I look at it the same way. Even though I'm in front of a camera, I still would act the way I would act, if I was smoking weed in the house by myself. I sit around, smoke the weed. If I want to, I talk to the TV or, whatever I'm doing. I try to, bring it the same way. The only difference is I'm just rating it, and stuff like that. I know that was a long one, folks, but I sort of had to get that out. It was interesting to me to see them shows. But back to the weed. The weed is good. It's smooth. I got about a little bit more than half, and I'm high. I got a good high going on. Because when I get high like this, I talk. You know, it's a good. We got a good smell to it, good aroma, a nice taste, and very little coughability because I'm kind of getting over my cold, so very little coughability. I don't think I have cough yet. So like I said, it does have that taste and that smell. The smell that may be the THC. Maybe somewhere when they combined it with the other weed or whatever. There we go. We got a small cough going now. So I guess if we're a big fat joint it is, I guess you have some coffability. And another thing about the show that I was watching earlier, when he rolled the joint, he had to put at least a gram and a half of weed in that joint. I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna always say that. That's just too much weed. If the weed is good and potent, you don't need a big old fat joint. You just need a nice size, reasonable. I roll my joint small because with me, don't have a lot of money, trying to do the show and enjoy myself at the same time. I'm stretching. I'm just be honest, I'm stretching. Maybe with him, he has a bigger production. Maybe he has more money to spend or whatever it is that he does. I just don't feel like you should roll them big ass joints. That seem to be just in now, but I get just as high. And I have sat around and smoked blunts with people. I personally don't like it, but I don't be rude. Somebody pass me a blunt, I take a couple pulls of it. I tell them I really don't like smoking blunts, but sometimes I do it just to taste what the weed tastes like. Cause sometimes they have some garbage inside them blunts, and they swear they high, but what you high off the tobacco and that badass weed, you know. And the combination of it does something to your head. It don't really get you high, but it gets you something. I personally don't like it. But I just don't see the point of rolling them big ass joints. But if that's your prerogative, help yourself, man. I mean, or female, whatever. I'm not trying to make a big deal about it. I just don't understand it. You know, when I was younger in the day, and I used to buy weed back in the day. See, back in the day when I was could get ounce, you could get an ounce for well, actually, the first ounce I ever bought cost me $30. Okay, then shortly after that, it went up to like 40. And it's like it went up $10 every other year, or every few years, whatever. But the very first ounce I bought for $30, and I can still tell you it was still some of the best weed. And I'm 50 something years old. I ain't telling how old, but I'm 50 something years old, and it was the best weed to this day that I've ever had. I don't know because it was the first weed I ever had or whatever, but it was really good weed. It was some Colombian. It was from Colombia. It's one Colombian gold, but it was from Colombia. Because at the time, my friend he used to get all his weed from Colombia. So it was from Colombia. I wouldn't say Colombian gold, but it was some Colombian weed. And till this day, 50 something years later, it's still one of the best marijuanas. I can remember the taste, the smell, because like I said, maybe it was my first time, and everything, and that might have been, it was my first time buying an ounce. It wasn't my first time smoking weed. I take that back. It was my first time buying an ounce, and when I bought an ounce of that weed, I had never smoked that particular weed. Let me get that straight, you know and it was like some of the best weed I ever had because when you first start smoking weed, you don't know what you're smoking. You just smoke it. Everybody else smoking gets silly. So a couple of years later is when I got into the connoisseurship of it. You know what I'm saying? The taste, the smell. So since about 16, I'm gonna tell you just right off the bat. Since about 16, I've been smoking weed, and it's always been a passion. It ain't always been just to get high. It was in the beginning, yeah, but when I learned about it and I started enjoying it and the different flavors and where it come from, all that stuff fascinated me, and I've been into it ever since. So we almost through with this joint. I like to give a little information and stuff like that. But like I had stated before, there's so many bad things going on in the world, folks, that to have a little bit of goodness or a little bit of freedom. It's a rare thing now. People say it's not, but it is. Even if you go on vacation, you know what? You're not on vacation. You know, because unless you go in there to totally do absolutely nothing, and somebody's waiting on you hand and feet, a vacation ain't even a vacation. Because if you're touring, you got to get on the buses, or if you out there, you want to go to the beaches. It's something that you always doing, and people call that a vacation, but it's still work. That's leisure time. That's not the same thing as a vacation to me. That's leisure time where you want to do stuff, go where and do stuff. To me, a vacation is when you go off somewhere, maybe you and your wife or you and your immediate family, man, and you just isolate yourself from the world and have fun doing it. So this week here, other than that little taste that's in there, which the more and more I smoke it, the more I'm not liking it. It's not really affecting the weed, but like I said, my palate is, very sensitive, and I can taste almost everything in the weed, and I can taste that seems to stand out to me a lot. Almost like a soap taste, almost like a soap taste. No, I take that back. Not like a soap taste. It's like a, I don't know. It's undescribable. It doesn't hurt the weed. It doesn't hurt the highness of the weed or anything like that, or you getting high off the weed. But it's a unique taste. That's all I can say. And for me, somebody who really focuses on taste, this stands out to me. You know, and I'm gonna grade it honestly. I'm not gonna grade it like I don't like it, because I can't say I don't like the weed. The weed is very good, and it's called Purple Gelato. Maybe that gelato the part is what I'm tasting, but it's good weed. I would recommend this weed. It's nice. It's mild. Got a little kick to it. Not bad. I took a really heavy pull at that time, but that wasn't bad at all. That was pretty good actually. The weed is pretty good actually. Making my nose run and making me hot. All of a sudden, get hot. You know. But I do employ people to check out some of those other stations. If you're a marijuana, if you're a connoisseur of marijuana and you like different things, I know I don't offer a lot of things that day show because I don't have the production to do that. But I'm looking for a videographer. I said production person before, but I meant to say a videographer. If you are a videographer willing to work on a small budget, help us out. Like I said, because I'm not that savvy with this stuff. You understand what I'm saying? You know, I don't get much help in what I'm doing, so I have to learn on my own. I'm trying to learn, but if somebody, out there, you struggling like I am, you know, come help me out. Like I said, we can work something out, some incentives for you, or him or her, whoever, and to get my videos up to a higher quality. I really, really would appreciate it. And I'm going to take all the advice I get from people who suggest that I do that. So if you got any comments about how I can make my show better, and more exciting and give it more flavor. Or if you like the way I'm doing it right now, you can give me some tips on how I can improve on what I'm doing right now. Because I like sort of what I'm doing, but I know people they like stuff happening. They want to not just look at one person for 20, 30 minutes. They want you to go over to this thing or go over to that thing, or focus, a little bit on this. I'm not equipped for that right now. I'm working on it. That's why I'm trying to get trying to sell ad space and trying to get these products so I can sell these products. Everything I'm doing is the money is coming out of my pocket. I'm not making anything off any of this. Everything is coming out of my pocket, you know. So that's why I ask that you please, help, just, donate, subscribe, give me thumbs up, so because I know even on YouTube, I know even if I had, 100,000 views, that don't make a lot of money, but anything would help, to help get this stuff off the road, the show on off into the atmosphere, into the stratosphere. Because like I said before, because we used to be surprised how many celebrities smoke weed. A lot of celebrities smoke weed, people. Keep my eye on the clock. Because last time I said I had to erase some stuff. But last time I thought something went wrong and I just ran out of space. And I don't understand why. It's a brand new computer. But either I'm not doing something right or something. But anyway, you know. But oh, my nose running. You know. So I'm coming to the end of the joint, and I have to say, even with that taste, it's still a good joint. I still enjoy the joint very much, and I highly recommend this week. So let's go on to the rating. Hold on, folks. Let me blow my nose off the camera. Okay. I don't know if that was off the camera, but that feels much better. No more leaking on TV. All right. So the first thing we're gonna go with is the smell. I like the smell. Was a good smell. It's fruity, so I think believing this is an exotic, very fruity smell. but it's just that smell that's off the top. I'm gonna say that's a THC smell because it does smell similar to that, just a little different, like it's more greenery in it or something like that. But very fruity, loud smell, nice smell. You know, when it's burning, it don't smell like that. But to smell it off the bat, it's a good smell. So I'm gonna give that smell a 7. Taste, I like the taste, except for that little twinge of a thing. Like I said, I do this. I'm very picky, so the taste was good. That little twinge of taste in there kind of threw it to me. Wasn't enough to make me stop smoking the weed or say that I hate the weed, but it's there. To me, if you're a smoker like me, you're gonna taste it. You're not gonna be that happy with it. So the taste, I'm gonna give it a 7. For overall flavor, I don't know because it seemed like it's a couple of strands involved, like 2, 3 different weeds involved, and it's not a terrible flavor, not the greatest either. So I would have to get a flavor. I have to give it a 7 as well because you want to be fair. The texture. Now I didn't talk about the texture because now the texture, the weed is semi-moist. It's like half moist, half dry. It's got a good texture. It breaks down good. Be good in a grinder. So it's by high texture. So I'm gonna give the texture an 8. Okay. I'm gonna have to get my calculator after this. Matter of fact, well, I can do it at no worry about it. Say a buzz or high. It's a high immediately. So about I would say shit 5 tokes into the joint, I can already feel the high. So I'm gonna give the high an 8. Point of peak. There was a point to this peak, and the peak was early in the joint. So I'm gonna give that an 8. Okay. Accessibility. I'm suspecting there's a lot out there. Okay, and I'm gonna give accessibility a 6 because I think it's fairly you can find it. Okay, coughability. Coughability is really low, really no coughability, except when I took that the deep toke. So, but it is a little. So if you're smoking on a big joint or something like that, I get coughability a 3. All right, quality. Okay, now despite everything I've just said, the overall quality is excellent. Nice texture, nice color, good smell, good, decent flavor, decent taste. Overall quality and the way it breaks down, I have to give the quality a high score. The quality I'm going to give a 9. Okay, and potency. It's potent. I wouldn't give it a 9 or a 10 potent, but it's a good potency. You feel it when you start smoking the joint. So I'm gonna give it a potency. I'm gonna give it an 8. So give me a minute, folks. Let me get my calculator and do this for us. It's right here. Calculator. Did I cut the music off? I think I cut the music off. Well, I didn't mean to do that. So it's 7 plus 7 plus 7 plus 8 plus 8 again plus 8 again plus 6 plus 3 plus 9 and plus 8 again equals a 71. Huh. That's it. 777888639 639 equals a 71, folks. So as nice as it tastes, it's only a good. So our score for today for purple gelato. Let me get this back on because I don't like that. I liked it my music. It, everything felt better with the music. There we go. So a couple seconds left, but I still want music. But anyway, we got a 71. If you want to check it, here it is. Let me see. Did I leave off anybody? No, I got smell, taste, flavor, texture, buzz, silly, cough, Billy, quite right. So everybody's on there. Potency, I'm just making sure because I keep forgetting leaving stuff out. So this is the score is a 71. Even though I did enjoy the weed very much, on my scale, my honest scale, this is what it's getting. It's a 71. Now you might say it's higher than a 71. But this is my own personal. Like I say, I give these my own personal scores. I can't score them for nobody but myself. So for me, for today, June, Wednesday, June 23rd, the weed is purple gelato. It gets a 71, which is a good. It's still a good. You still would enjoy it. And I think that, oh, and would you buy it again? And yes, I would actually buy it again. So my answer to would you buy it again would be yes. Because I enjoyed it. Like I said, it wasn't the strongest or the most potent, but it was better to me. It was better than the oxweed. Now, I would say that. And the oxweed got a higher score. It got a 77. That's because the accessibility and the quality and the potency was high on that. Okay, well, I had to take that back then. It wasn't a better weed. But to me, I think I enjoyed this a little bit better than I enjoyed the ox. That's my honest opinion. Because I like the weed. Even though I got that little funny taste, I liked it. So, folks, thank you for joining me today. I appreciate it. Like I said, I always have fun doing this, and I do like some of the feedback that I've been getting it. I'm just not getting enough. Give me more feedback. Leave me some comments in the comments section. And don't forget that we have some merchandise coming soon. And those of us who follow me in country, don't forget to tune in to our show, Soul Time with Country and Mr. Reese on Anchor and Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and also New Way to Do It with Reese. It's also on those same stations. So until next time, and the next time we meet, talk freely and bye bye.